It seems as the story keeps getting worse and worse. What story am I talking about? The story about how far behind Canada is with housing completions relative to the number of people entering our country and how this number is continuing to grow, causing concerns for the general public. For context, Canada had around 30,000 more housing completions on average in each of the years from 1972 to 1977 in comparison to the level of completions that we've had from 2018 to 2022. 30,000 more units built in a time period that was 50 years ago with less density in the country and not as much technological advancement in the marketplace like we have today. Fraser Institute, which is an organization that produces research on government actions in areas that deeply affect Canadians' quality of life, such as education, housing, and economic freedom, just to name a few topics, has recently done a deep dive to see just how big the gap is in our housing supply here in Canada. So this institution found that Canada's population increased by an annual average of 553,000 residents from 2018 to 2022. Quick side note, the actual number of people that entered Canada in 2022 exceeded roughly 1.1 million people, which is crazy to think about. Before we go any further, my name is Trey Folks, and I'm a realtor here in the city of Toronto in the Greater Toronto Area, or the GTA. I strive to make the waters of real estate a little easier to navigate by posting educational content such as this video on a frequent basis, help those looking to transact in the near future make logical, strong, and successful decisions. If you would like to book a time to chat about anything real estate related or not, please feel free to do so by clicking the first link down in the description right here and pick a time that is most convenient for you. Now, back to it. The question you may be asking yourself is how many completions were built in each of the years from 2018 to 2022. We had an average of 205 units built in each of those years. So the moral of the story here is that our building is not happening quick enough, and the gap from our population to the housing completions has now hit a 50-year high, which is really concerning. Check out this graph. I'm going to insert it here. The yellow line represents completions or housing completions, while the blue line represents our population growth and people coming to Canada. The spread gets pretty noticeable in 2016 onwards, but if you look at the difference in the very last column, this is actually just insane. It doesn't look real. Call it just over 200,000 housing completions, so right around that average of 205,000 with over a million people or 1.1 million people entering the country. This spread is insane. Now compare this with the very beginning of our chart where the gap was a lot closer. That's what you want to see. The level of demand was meeting the level of supply in our market, right? But from 72 to 76, the number of newcomers grew by roughly 300K each year, with completion sitting at 238K. So gap wasn't that big, and affordability at that time was much more attainable, right? Average prices during the mid 70s were sitting somewhere in the mid $60,000 mark, which I would have loved to purchase at. With all this said, it's clear that something has to change when it comes to building here in Canada. Ontario specifically has made it easier for homeowners to add supply to the market by allowing them to build triplexes and fourplexes on their lots. This mandate was implemented earlier this year by Doug Ford and was called the More Homes Built Faster Act, but we're still nowhere close to solving affordability issues here in Canada. And as per CMHC's latest report, they now forecast that Canada would be almost 3.5 million units shy by 2030 if nothing changes. The higher interest rates are also pushing so many first-time home buyers without any equity already in a home out of the market, and it's causing a lot of people that already own a home that are sitting on a lot of equity and only have a small mortgage. It's causing them to stay put and not to move, right? The Bank of Canada does have another rate announcement tomorrow on October 25th, so we'll see what happens there. That's a wrap. I just wanted to end this video by stating that while there is uncertainty in our market right now, investing into real estate should always be a long-term play, right? This is something that I tell all my clients all the time. Things will eventually get back on track, and when things are back on track, you want to make sure that you're ready to go. I hope that you all enjoyed today's video, especially if you made it this far. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about real estate or not. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, whether you're in Toronto or anywhere within the GTA, remember to trust the process and fall in love with your journey.